Hi guys, back again. Day 3 of Close Reading Like a Detective. Yesterday we covered what kind of genre was your book in and what kind of genre was the A River Ran Wild written in. And then what is the text structure that Lynn Cherry chose to use. We identified it as chronological, narrative nonfiction, chronological. Then we went through and we were able to prove that, yes, indeed, these are chronological words. And we had a timeline to start us off, so it kind of was easy for us. So if you did that work yesterday with your book, you'll be able to find out how close you were you right on with naming your text structure and finding the clues. So you'll have to check that in the link that your teacher has given you. Today, we're going to be detectives for word choice because every author spends so much time figuring out exactly what they want to say and how to say it. They know they have this much time with their readers and they need to clip it. They need to be concise, which means they need to be precise with their language. So let me show you. I have a little chart for word choice. Put it right up over our genre chart. Word choice. And there are basically 3 types of words that we look at when we say, hey, author, what are you giving us? So we can pick up on your clues. And those are definitely nouns. There are common nouns and proper nouns, which we know you know. And just to be clear, to make sure we all know, common is the everyday word, a general topic word. I'll just say building, a building in New York City. The proper noun might be, well, there are many buildings, but I might just say the Empire State Building. So common is general and proper is specific. And then we also have verbs. And I didn't put this one down, but it's very popular and you know them. And those are adjectives, the describing words, the words that make our language interesting to listen to. Okay, so for A River Ran Wild, of course, as a reader, you always want to pay attention to the title because the author spent a lot of time on that title saying, what is it that my reader is going to be captivated by? And I do love her title, A River Ran Wild. And just that word, wild, right? It's interesting, intriguing. And I love her alliteration with the R in the R, river and ran. And honestly, do you ever describe a river running anywhere? I guess you do describe water running, but the past tense of running is ran, so that's her verb. That's her choice of verb, which is great. Okay, so title, definitely. You're going to be looking at your title for your own book. I'm just going to actually put that down. And I have to put that up here because it has different parts of speech in it. And I'm just going to flip to our first page here. Now, what you need to know about how authors go about their word choice, because honestly, you guys are all authors. You have had to work really hard on what your choice of words. And I always look at it going, authors choose their words to match the mood, the tone that their story is told in. If you're a scientist and you are writing a scientific nonfiction book filled with facts, you could have some interesting word choices, but I bet you're going to be way more into the proper nouns for sure. And then the specific verbs, but it's going to be like, you're going to be looking mostly at the present and past tense, but how they act or action. So that's what they're going to be doing. I bet some of those scientists are probably a little dry in their writing and they probably wouldn't have as many adjectives as authors do of fiction or narrative nonfiction. So on this page, I found 3 words that told me what the tone was and how she wanted me to be reading the story. I found the words paused. Geese paused on their long migration. And then I found rested. Rested on its banks. Beavers, turtles, and schools of fish swam in its clear waters. So I put them all on one, and I needed to probably take them apart. But you can probably tell quickly. Paused and rested, they have the ed, the past tense suffix, the ending. So those would be our verbs. And then clear is describing the water. And that would go over here under adjectives. Now, another point that we always ask readers to be looking out for, and writers, is what words and phrases are repeated, because if those are repeated, that means they have to be important. Why would an author waste space on a page by repeating words or space through the text? They're meaningful, and they're asking you, please pick up on them, put them as highlights. And it's almost like that Wordle, if you've ever done a Wordle, and you put in a word way more than another one, and they just get bigger and bigger and bigger. That shows how important the word is. So that word clear, I remember it from when we first read the story, and when I was rereading for the text structure. I know that's important. She repeats that. So you'll be looking for that in your book too. Okay, so on this page, loved that she was doing some name dropping for proper nouns. She was, by the way, if you ever want to sound really smart in your writing, definitely do some name dropping. So specific nouns, she did Mount Wachusett, and it just tells you that the person knows what they're talking about. It gives the image, the visualization for the listener, the reader. And so I'm going to put that one over here under noun. And then I have, again, I didn't take them apart, but nestled, ed, paused, rested, and nestled. I feel like they just give me that calming, easy-going, flowing river kind of feeling. Clear water, again. And then I have a past tense of shine, which is shone. You could use shined, but shone is a little more sophisticated. So another verb, and then one other adjective, which happens to be the same one. I'm going to stick those over there. Let's see, what else did I come up with? Oh, this seemed like this was a phrase that I know I heard later on, but it was opposite of what this was. It was an antonym. They killed only what they needed. Still calm in my heart that they're being respectful of the land. I really liked what they did, how she wrote it. But do you remember the part where the settlers came and they killed more than they needed? They were wasteful. To bring more calmness to us and more flowy feelings, she used rhythm. What is rhythm? Is rhythm a thing, or is rhythm an action? In this case, she was using it as a noun. Moving on over. Check it out. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Clear, clean, flowing. So I'm going to put this over in the verbs, even though we know that clear and clean now are going to be in our adjectives. Oh, here we are. Seemed like magic. Welcomed him. Those to me, yes, those are verbs, past tense, seemed, and then welcomed. She totally put those in specifically for us to pick up on, because isn't it going to come back and bite them to be so kind and open-hearted and open arms? Like, oh my gosh. But they're thinking he's like magic. So to me, they're sort of being persuaded by his fancy trinkets, all the newness. So over there they go. Remember, we're working on word choice. How is she telling the story, and why is this so powerful? So what I did, this is a blank Post-it. You have a chance to look at 2 pages actually 3 if you want to, but 2 pages back to back in the story, and look for specific word choices that you're going to put down and then send to your teacher so we can see, how are you doing that close reading. The 3rd page that you don't have to do if you don't want to, but geez, I really wanted you to do it because it's the last page of the story, and truly it's going to hopefully bring you right on back to that nice calm feeling. And then look carefully. There's some nice repetition in there too. Okay, so you have a little bit of work to do for A River Ran Wild, and then reread your book. See what you can find, what you can listen to. You probably have to slow down and pause your video as you're reading through, but why not? It's just teaching you how to be a smarter reader. Happy detective work, kids.